to be told that when they go take a trip to Washington, D.C. I mean, there's places in Denver that you would want to make sure you have chaperones. So,
Right.
there's danger all over the place. But I think the most important thing is what you're talking about, is the cultural experiences of what you get to see. One of my most vivid memories was when I got to go to Hong Kong, and I was young, and my friend that was taking me was from Hong Kong originally. So we didn't see the Hong Kong that tourists see.
You see the backyard,
we went to the
locals
view.
view.
We saw the market, and there's people like filleting fresh fish right there, and like the bag that we brought back of shrimp that was going to be cooked for dinner was alive and moving. It was really a strange experience. It's not something you see in America.
Wow.
Right. But my time in the Philippines, it really showed me that you can't learn a culture through a book. It just doesn't work. You need to be able to actually go and spend some time and see the reality of what they're living with. And I was always so impressed with the Filipinos and how they deal with a third world country. Nurses make $8 a day for a 12-hour shift. So the hardships they deal with, I expected people to be grumpy, to be, stress-filled, like we see a lot of people here in the U.S. There's a lot of stress here. And instead, everyone was friendly, very kind, and I think even if you try to speak a few words of the language, there's instantaneous respect and appreciation that's shown.
Or they're just laughing at you going, he just said the bear has no poop.
They really had a fun time, like having me try to sing in
Because
Tagalog.
we do it to them when they come here. It's even on the 1980s movies. What was that one?
Yeah.
16 Candles.
16 Candles. Right?
What's happening? Stuff.
Well, and I think when you get a sense, there's different senses of humor, and so there's so many different cultural aspects that you learn by exposing children to seeing these. I had one student that went to Paris, and they came back, and I said, "Well, what was the trip?" And he said, everywhere we went, there was a poster for a concert, and there were people playing music on the street. There were all these quartets, and I'm going, and then what did you notice when you flew back to Denver? He said, well, there's a huge Denver Broncos sign, and I appreciate and I love sports, so I'm not knocking sports in any way, but there's a lot of appreciation for different arts and different crafts when you visit a different country. And had my student not gone there, they wouldn't have even noticed that a lot of people in the rest of the world really want and desire a chance to be able to learn a musical instrument.
Right.
Some of them don't even have the ability. I know in the Philippines there's only one shop that you can actually buy handmade violins. All of the other violins are, factory made, and probably you could get them on Amazon for $10 to $20, and that's what people can afford. So I understand the reasoning, but everybody wants to be able to learn, and I think you get a lot of exposure to food. One thing that I thought was really helpful for me to see too was being in the Philippines and watching how they use the word sayang, which means to save. So if you're eating food and you don't finish the food that was given to you, they say sayang. In other words, don't be wasteful, because there's not much to go around. Even a little bag of rice is very valuable. So it, I think, gives people humility. It shows compassion. And then you start also realizing that we're all really the same. We're all facing the same struggles. It doesn't matter. There's different privileges that we deal with here that a lot of people don't realize until they go to a place like you've mentioned, Egypt, which would be a beautiful place. And I think they just discovered a new tomb that has full colors in it. It looks beautiful. So, all of those places, I think, can really expose children to some phenomenal experiences that also help ground them with a desire to be successful. And I think that's really important to say, because a lot of times, as you mentioned before,
right,
it's not about just a vacation. You're trying to show these children that they're working for a reason. They're learning for a reason, so they can have opportunities, so they can maybe come back and help these people. And one of my favorite people is actually from Eritrea, and he is now a head surgeon for trauma surgery at a hospital in Tennessee. And he still goes back to Eritrea all the time. And what he does is sets up clinics, and I think he was given a major award there, and I believe at the White House in the past, due to he dropped the death of newborns by a huge margin by training the clinics, and then he would go and train each doctor, and then they would train other people, and so a lot of these kids get inspired by going. And I even have one student, every summer she's gone to a different country and she helps them out. She's Chinese and absolutely loves volunteering. So she goes, I think this year she's going to South America and helping the people there, harvesting food, building homes. So a lot of these kids can be inspired by that. So I just wanted to thank you for what you're doing, and I think it's been really phenomenal. So please share your information, and definitely if for the funding and stuff like that, I'll throw that up on Twitter and do what I can to help spread.
I appreciate that.
Thanks, Kirk.
You bet. Great to
Thank you so much for calling in. It's about time for our second break, too. But as always, we'll be in touch, Kirk.
You bet.
See you, my friend. Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
And it's time for our second break, but we got some letters from students that want to educate on why it's important and why they could really use some help. And we'll be back with Moments of Clarity in just a moment.
We will return to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner after these messages.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Warner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one. Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. I'd like to give a shout out to musician-songwriter Don Lawson, who wrote, produced, and performed all the vocals and instruments on my Moments of Clarity theme song. Don gained his inspiration as a mental health counselor himself. He's always looking for artists to record his songs, and you can hear more of Don's music at reverbnation.com/Don Lawson. You can also check him out on Twitter at Don Lawson Music. Thank you so much, Don, for your contribution to Moments of Clarity and ending the stigma on mental health. It's awesome.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Now back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor. To engage in the conversation, call 866-826-1340. Here's Tiffany.
Hi, thanks for waiting. If you're just tuning in, this is Moments of Clarity. My name is Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And we're talking about the power of exposing our kids to cultural diversity and different ways of life early on in life so that they grow up to be more educated, more compassionate, empathetic, and more aware of what cultural differences are rather than ignorant or fearful or judgmental, to understand and see it firsthand. And so my guest today, welcome back, Mr. Timothy Wert.
Thank you for having me here.
And I, since we had no school today and it's an Easter holiday, I invited my son, Christian, here, and he's going to give some feedback in just a second. Say hi, Christian. It's okay.
Hi.
He's much more talkative at home. Okay, so I asked Mr. Wert to ask some of his students to write a letter of why they deserve to go, because there's some funding that we're going to get to, some fundraisers and things, because there's a lot of kids that can't afford to go. And this, I'm not going to read it all in detail because, it's about 3 pages written, and it's, keep in mind, from a 6th or 7th grader, and this is a real letter. And it said, I would be amazed to go to the Galapagos Islands. I want to go because I think it would be nice and get away from all the problems in my life. I would love to be able to go with my mom, even for us to spend time together, because that rarely happens anymore. It would be very special, and especially since we cannot afford it, because my mom is having a lot of financial issues right now, and she can't exactly put her all in. She can't really put all in for work with her health for now. She works at home and is limited stuff and has very little money. Just from that, it says a lot about, there's so many kids with so many issues, and they don't get opportunities like this because their lives are hard already. And it's, they deserve more. All kids do. So it's living the life, the hand that they were dealt, basically. But at the same time, what can we do to change that for them? Because it's really not their fault, right? Callers call in 866-826-1340. 866-826-1340. And so, Christian, why would you think traveling across the world would be, and this is not scripted, I'm just telling you guys, and putting them on the spot. Why would you think traveling to another country and witnessing a different culture would be healthy for you right now?
Because I don't know. I guess for the high school credits and to see the world as it, see different kinds of countries, and it would be nice to see, all the, Egypt. I want to see all the pyramids and stuff like that. It would be nice to go there.
What are the pyramids?
Made magically.
Oh, you were shaking your head at me like, I don't know. I was just going to be like, okay, education, never mind. This is just end the show here. No, but
I think that's a good point.
One of the wonders of the world. But you know what? If he went to Cairo and experienced it, he would come back with a much different answer, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because you would know exactly. What were you saying, Mr. Wert?
I think that's important, too, that, even though he doesn't answer what you would expect him to answer, how many of the students out there that go to history class pay attention and understand what history really is?
Right.
How do they know? Do they understand where the Romans came from and what they went through? And do they understand about the Colosseum? Do they understand about the pyramids? Do they understand why they were built? Do they understand why the pharaohs were buried in the Valley of the Kings instead of the pyramids? This is all history stuff that, you kind of drowned out in class. You're going on and on and on. You're teaching, but are they really absorbing it? Are they really getting a hold of it? Are they grasping it? But when
they're memorizing what's on the test.
Yeah.
Right.
Are they really understing?
I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one.
I know. You're not the only one. I was one.
How much are they paying attention, And when they are paying attention, it's like...
Why did you get all defensive for that anyway? I just got to pull you out on that. I'm not the only one.
Learning. End the show now. Yeah, I'm not the only one.
Oh, you're calling me out?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I need to go too, so that's for sure. But anyway, yeah, the history of all that stuff that he just said, I probably should see that up front so I really get it too. But I know a little bit more about the pyramids than that, and I would like to see the wonders of the world just up front, just to say I did, and